What's up, friends? It's Phil Firecore. Today we're going to be taking a look at some sets for one of my favorite mons, but unfortunately is just not getting the limelight it deserves. And that mon is going to be Talonflame. I love this thing. I really loved it when I watched the X and Y anime back when I was a wee youngin'. It's a weird mon. It's a very weird mon. It had like a very big burst of usage inside of Generation 6 when it came out, because its ability, Gale Wings, which gives priority to flying type moves, was pretty busted. You know, it worked at all HPs. You can use like bulky sets and just spam recover over and over again with Will-O-Wisp. It was pretty crazy. But then inside of Generation 7, they took that away and made it only work at full HP. So if you're at like 99%, none of your attacks had priority, or at least your flying ones no longer had priority, which really sucks, especially with rocks everywhere. But then Generation 8 came out and gave it heavy duty boots, but people are still sleeping on this thing, and I can kind of understand why. When you look at these things' stats, it is kind of exactly what you'd expect a Route 1 bird to be. Very lackluster. It does have access to some good moves, but basically what makes it good is that ability. But let's take a look at some of the viable sets for this mon, which I just want you all to know, this mon dropped down to PU. This is how much it's not getting used. PU. When it used to be a top tier OU threat in Gen 6, and I'm pretty sure it was higher than PU instead of Generation 7. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think heavy duty boots should pull this thing out of the Shadow Realm. So let's take a look at some sets. Maybe it'll inspire you to use this inside of your own tier. Alright, the first set we're going to be taking a look at is Sir Standard. This is the thing you're going to be seeing most of the time inside of just competitive play overall. Now, since this thing does have access to Swords Dance, it can use it, but again, it's quite frail. It does not have that much attack, so even if it is at +2, it's still not going to be doing insane damage. It's just not that strong. Basically, Gale Wings is pulling this thing around. When you put on the heavy duty boots, you don't have to worry about stealth rocks, which is nice. So it's a good offensive mon used inside of PU and stuff. But these aren't the sets that I think are going to pull it inside of usage. Like, sure, you can see these things, but most people know how to counter them. Like, it has a very select few moves that it can use to defeat you. As you see right here, it has Roost, which I guess you can use, but it has no more priority, so it's kind of just to get yourself back inside of priority if someone goes for something. I don't know, maybe if they're disrespecting the Talonflame, you can get back up to full HP, and then fire off a priority Brave Bird, which might be +2, might not. The real problem with this mon is both of its stab moves, or at least the best versions of them, have recoil damage, so you know, I know this would kind of be a little crazy, but, you know, maybe, just maybe, they could make it so Gale Wings also acts as Rockhead. It's crazy, okay? It's crazy. A lot of people suggest for a buff of Gale Wings that isn't so drastic as to, like, bring it back to its Gen 6 prowess and give it its priority at full. Some people are thinking, like, at half HP, some people are thinking at, like, 75. You know, maybe Rockhead, that would be kind of cool. But that would, like, involve Game Freak acknowledging the competitive scene of a certain mon, which I doubt they would do that. Like, I know they nerfed it, but that was also probably for a VGC thing, since it also had like weird tailwind shenanigans instead of VGC. But anyways, moving on to the next set, we have the bulk up set. This is exactly like the Swords Dance set, but I guess inside the off chance that you can get a bulk up off, you know, there you go, you might have some defense and be able to build it up on certain mons, maybe some grass types that can't touch you or something like that. I just want to showcase it does have bulk up, since I don't really like remembering everything. So I'm just going to put all these down. Alright, the next set is going to be the defensive set. No, this is going to be the subset. This is supposed to be moved over. Okay, we have the defensive set over here, which there's a bunch of ways you can use this. You can use Taunt, you can use Will-O-Wisp, but this is the most used defensive set. And as you can see, it does not have an EV spread that facilitates defensiveness, since it does not have any defensiveness to it. But you can use this as a pivot to defog out, to go for Roost, to be a little bit more annoying. I personally like using Will-O-Wisp. You know, you need U-turn. That's kind of a given on this mon, at least I think so. Its best benefit is that it's fast, and it has priority on Gale Wings. With Gale Wings, so if you can get your Brave Birds, you can do some sweeping, I guess, but mostly this defensive set can come in, maybe on a Mon doing some kind of weird grass thing, doing something that can't touch it, and you'll be able to go for a defog. I think there are much better defoggers, especially instead of like PU or the lower tiers, but maybe it's like a weird Rillaboom counter if they're not running any form of knockoff, which personally I think is a little weird. I think all Rillabooms need to be running knockoff. But you know, maybe some weird one like Drain Punch, Wood Hammer, Grassy Glide, high horsepower. Something weird like that you could wall it with this. It also has Flame Body, but Gale Wings works better. Alright, now back to the subset. Subset. No, subset. Okay, so a lot of people really like switching out on this Mon, which is kind of an obvious thing. If a Pokemon gets switched out a lot on, you can put on Sub, and there you go, you're good. If the Mon's worried about like Sucker Punch, you can put on Sub. There you go. So I think you need Roost with Sub, and you definitely need both Brave Bird and Flare Blitz to actually do damage if you want to be a subset. So you kind of forgo any form of sweeping, but you know, if you need to deal with this, it could be a cool tech inside the back, just in case you're worried about some things. Yeah, but those are the very basic sets, the ones, you know, the defensive sets, the offensive ones, an offensive one with Substitute. I would personally just advise, you know, running this set right here. This is the usual one. Bulk ups. Nah. Alright, now, moving on to some of the more interesting ones. Okay. So as you saw right there, every single set had heavy-duty boots, Gale Wings, and a very basic stuff, okay? But I decided I want to run something cooler. So this is my own pre-made set. This is what's going to put it inside of the OU tier. Of course I kid, this Mon is not too OU viable unless you're trying to do some weird countering, but I still think these could be a little cool. This is going to be the Endure Lychee Berry set. So this is kind of pulling from some Hawlucha sets that I've done into the past with Endure Lychee Berry and like Reversal. It's not as useful since it doesn't get unburdened, but you know, maybe Gale Wings isn't even good on this, and you can put on Flame Body, which also works, but you know. So this set right here is going to go for Swords Dance, maybe live a hit, and then be able to endure down to his Lychee Berry. That gets popped, and it activates its Acrobatics. Now, I guess this also is cool, since you don't have to worry about recoil damage. You're at +3, and you're fairly fast, so who knows what could happen. I just kind of wanted to use something with an Acrobatic set, since I see a lot of this Mon being able to go for Roost a lot. No, Brave Birds a lot, and Flare Blitzes, but when it's time to Roost, it doesn't really get the chance to, since it doesn't... Well, it's either it dies, because most of the time when I use this thing, it's like it goes for a Brave Bird, and if they're smart, they'll just smack you, because you're not going to die, since this thing's attack is kind of pitiful, and they're going to take a bunch of damage from recoil, and you're hit. So that's the first weird set. And then the next one is going to be the... now this is the one that I think could be used inside of an actual, like... I'm not going to say, like... How do I explain it? If you're inside of a situation where you're always worried about this one Mon, let's say some annoying rock type, some annoying ground type, not including Lycanroc inside of the PU tier, because that thing is going to wallop you, but this could be used, okay? Hear me out. This is going to be the Workup Solar Beam set. It's not going to work, like 90% of the time. Of course, you could always use this on a Sun team if you really want to be that guy. I've never used Talonflame on a Sun team, but maybe that'll give it the added power. But I think this is also kind of cool. So Workup buffs both your offense and your special offense. So you have your 2 stab attacks and then Solar Beam, which, like, I want to say it has a respectable special attack stat, but 74 is kind of trash. I think if my grandmother became a Pokemon and she's not too good at, you know, throwing stuff, she has, like, problems with her shoulder, so her special attacks aren't going to be that good. Even though I don't think special attacks constitute as chucking stuff, it's more of mind power, but you know what I mean. Yep, but this is a cool set. With the Power Herb, you're able to charge up your Solar Beam immediately and fire it off and do a lot of damage. Well, as much damage as possible. But again, this is basically all there is to Talonflame. It's a very unfortunate case of hard nerfing for no reason. Kind of like Darkrai. Very unfortunate. I don't think they the Game Freak company... I don't think all nerfs should be due to VGC, since I'm pretty sure this mon was nerfed because of VGC. Because all the hard nerfs that I've seen have been because of, you know, something inside of their official 2v2 metagame that they like to, you know, put money into, where something like Ash Greninja or a bunch of mons that are used inside of the singles metagame that are really broken there, I don't see too much nerfing there. I see a lot of things that kind of transition over there, like Intimidate, really broken inside of doubles because it hits both of them, so they added a bunch of abilities that cancel that, like Scrappy and all that shit. Then they have this Pokemon, probably did something with Tailwind, had to nerf it, and then they had Dark Void, which I don't even understand what they did with Dark Void. Well, I know what they did, but why? Like, the whole reason why it was good is because Smeargle could go for it, because it can learn every single move, and it's like a 100% accuracy, like double spore or something, so it's really broken. But they made it so Smeargle can't learn anymore. But then they also decreased the like accuracy to below like Hypnosis. It has 50 accuracy, so Darkrai's signature move, you gotta use Hypnosis if you want to use Sleepy Darkrai, which kind of invalidates his whole gimmick, but whatever, we're not talking about Darkrai. So a bunch of unfortunate cases here, but hopefully this inspired you to use this slept on Mon. I'll probably make a live on it inside the future, because I want to showcase this thing. It's a good Mon, it's just not higher tier viable, since it has been kind of shafted. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and keep on the lookout for my videos.